Of course, this being the Precious Talent School, deaths that happened, 8 children needlessly losing their lives. Now we're doing an audit of the school infrastructure across the country. But this is not even a knee-jerk reaction, because we're talking about a school that had a KCPE candidate, Emna Idambu, and plenty others. So meaning that they had been registered and that the ministry was aware that there's such a school somewhere. So is this too little, too late? Are we going to start this process and not finish it?
It's just,
Mr. Busire?
It's just going through the But we know the problem. We just react and make statements and nothing will happen. Jeff, just recast your mind to what Nairobi is. Precious Talents, it represents the millions of other children who live in the slums. The slums have no infrastructure. It's failed leadership, failed planning, and nobody cares. When you allow settlement, where are the social amenities that are supposed to cater for them? Now I hear we're going to build a school in 3 months. It shows you that you are not planning. Do our leaders live in this country? Yeah? That if you walk through the slums, you will see the children of Kenyans who turn out in large numbers, because most of the slums in Nairobi are also vote banks. They have certain characteristics of who they vote for. What happens to those leaders? They know they don't have schools, they don't have anything else. There is a government official who registered this school. There is a county government in Nairobi that is supposed to know what its jurisdiction is. What is the infrastructure in place? We allow it to happen, then we're in front of the cameras saying, promising to do this, I'm cutting my trip abroad short, I'm doing this, I want to negotiate with the Nana. I think that hypocrisy, like the Bible says, a hypocrite is a very bad person.
Right.
And we can't afford, this is what we are saying right from all the discussions this morning. We have a failed system. And this system fails in that we fail the same Kenyans. That's why we no wonder come in and use money to buy leadership. And yet we do not give that leadership to the people. When I looked at that Precious Talents thing, did somebody look at that structure? They were using chicken wire to do a floor. Where is our conscience as a nation?
Let's talk about that as well. You've spoken about failed systems. Honorable Sankok, front page of the Daily Nation. Killer school owner still walking free. Justice delayed. A day after the tragedy, police are yet to make arrests or hold anyone responsible for the loss of lives and injuries at Nairobi's Precious Talents Academy. We've seen the DCI go and investigate what could have caused the structural integrity issues. We've heard some of them have gone to investigate at the county government to find out who should have been in charge of urban planning. But the man in charge of the school is walking free, Honorable Sankok.
Unlike my brother Busire, I will not talk about leadership, but I will talk about our regulatory bodies who are supposed to have the experience and expertise to regulate some of these issues. I'm talking about the Nairobi City County Government Planning Department. I'm talking about NCA, National Construction Authority. We pay these people huge sum of money in salaries so that they can regulate some of these structures that are coming up. My friend, how can we have a whole floor? Yes, instead of, they call it R6 or R10 or R7, instead of metal bars, they actually constructed using chicken wire. What are you investigating at DCI? Can't you not just see the building how it is? So I'm talking of our regulatory authorities. We have had buildings being constructed on riparian areas, and a building cannot be constructed inside a pocket. It is constructed on the glare of everybody, and they cannot. Why are they earning our salaries? We have had 15 schools inside Mau Forest. We have forest officers who are supposed to guard that forest. We have had roads inside Mau Forest. We have school-going kids inside Mau Forest. We have electricity connected inside Mau Forest. Yet whoever that is supposed to connect electricity must have a look at the way leaf, must know where the road is, where a plot is, where which land to connect electricity to, and it is a failed regulatory bodies. And I expect that before even you go to the teacher or the owner or the investor, we may not have the knowledge of engineering. There's people Kenyans pay, sweat to pay, so that they can actually see buildings and say, no, this one should not come up, because you have not gone through the correct manner of structural engineering and so on. I should expect to see, first of all, the Nairobi City Council Planning Department, the boss there, the CEC there, going in, and then the NCA, all of them, those who are supposed to be in charge of that area, going in there. Those who allowed schools to be built in Mount Forest to go in, even the TSC who posted teachers inside the forest. Were they teaching Tumbili Nanyani? Or who are they teaching? We should actually see the CEO of TSC, past and present, in the CEO of the Kenya Power, past and present, and even the minister being prosecuted. Let
me get Madam Elachi in on this as well. The governor of Nairobi, Mike Sonko, spoke about this, said that in terms of urban planning, he had also been misled. There are cartels within this particular arm of his county government. The DCI also investigating this. But the nation is looking at this, and our heart just wants heads to roll for this. We don't want blame games. We want something to be done. From your viewpoint, where does the buck stop? Are we going to the county government? Does this go all the way to the CS in terms of education? Where should the head roll on this?
Well, I think it starts with us in the county government, because in terms of now planning and structural, it is for us to give approvals. Now, we need to ask ourselves, when did the school start? Because this is a school that has been doing KCP. It has more than 800 children, meaning it has been there for a while. Now, the biggest challenge in such a scenario is now when we start the blame game and now going to the minister and all that. And I think for us in Nairobi, the other challenge everyone has is, where do we take our children who live within the informal sectors? Because this is not just the only school. I know if you do a lot of investigations properly, you'll find many schools. But you need to ask yourselves, where are you taking them? Because by the time 800 children were coming here, it means there's lack of something within that area. And for sure, Ngando, even if it has a public school, I think it's only one, which is already very full. And therefore, the first thing we need to be thinking is about the children, those first who have passed on. How are we dealing with their parents? How are we taking counseling for those who are supposed to be sitting for their standard 8? Where is the government putting up a center for them first to go? Now, the owner of the school now should now come. Fine, we have also those for approvals and all that, but you as the owner also must be also responsible in terms of the materials you're going to use. I mean, it's very wrong for everything that in our country we must be inspected for us to do right. Honestly, it is wrong. So for me, the owner of the school, surely, was there need to put slabs on top and you don't have the right structure of putting a slab or of putting the building to be a building that is going up?
Should you also be questioning the police in the sense that we have a person who's walking free, yet your school has just killed 8 children?
Of course, yes. Because, I mean, you already needed to have put in an investigation to ask yourself, you as the owner of the school, were you okay with the structure? And if indeed they were saying the sewer line had passed, definitely you knew already your building has weakened because of that. The best you would have done is to move the children out of those classrooms and just say the classrooms are not fit for children to be in because of this. But those who did also the sewer, definitely you needed to have given a report to the school that we have done the sewer and we realize we have just touched, we feel your foundation is going to be affected. So both sides. Now when we want to now, the problem in Kenya now, we will go for the owner of the school. We will forget there's a line of people, even the contractor must be part of question.
Jeff, we should not even go to the
owner. Why would the contractor even allow the owner of the school to use wrong materials for construction?
Exactly. I will differ with the Honorable Elachi. We should not even go to the owner of the school. Remember somebody like Aga Khan, who owns a hospital, is a qualified teacher. He owns a hospital. He does not know how procedures are done, if in case a doctor misdiagnosed or leave a scissor inside the uterus of somebody who was doing a CS, then we will not say the owner have wronged. There are those people who did the approval. There is the engineer who constructed that class. He is the one who understands what is supposed to be done in construction. So let us find, first of all, who is the contractor, who approved, because we pay these regulatory bodies to see any building coming up, go and ask for the BQs, ask for structural planning, is it plans or whatever, and approve. So how did they approve? If they have approved wrongly, before even we go to the owner, because we assume these investors, some of them don't have knowledge in whatever they are investing in. They depend on government regulatory bodies to do the approval. They depend on our contractors who went to university to study which material to be used. But you cannot ask me that I should know the material that should be used on the slab. No, I don't know.
And as you look at who's to blame for this, I also want to ask for this because...
Let me ask, if it is your house, for example, you've given a contractor, definitely you will walk in, and if the contractor has decided to cheat, I mean, I will just stop the construction and say, no,
Alachi,
you can't, just let me finish. Because when you look at the slab that comes down, even you when you enter,
Yes.
honestly, for your own safety, because by the time I'm bringing in kids, me as the owner, I have to call in the safety people and say, give me a recommendation that there's safety of the building because I'm bringing in students.
Right.
Yeah.
Just one second. Just one second. Just one second. Just
what is the fact that
just one second.
Did collapse.
Just
the
one
proprietor
second.
was also asked about it, and he said that he did know there was an issue with the integrity because of the construction that was going on.
Just 1 second.
So therein lies his
just 1 second.
Well,
just 1 second. If I have a house and I'm constructing a house and I'm very poor, that I'm constructing only that one house, I'll go through in that house. His Excellency Trump own several buildings across the world. Do you want to say that he goes to every floor?
Yeah, but
to 1 million
a very
floors.
unique case here.
No, my friend.
With a person
let us not scare away very rich investors who want to invest in fields that they don't even have an idea.
Are you trying to say this person is innocent in this?
No, I'm saying the regulatory bodies should go in before.
We're not saying that they're not guilty, the regulatory bodies.
We will get
the proprietor as well.
We'll get the proprietor, but after,
let me tell
after the approval, the contractor and the approving bodies. Yes, because the only way we can attract very rich contractors, investors, who can invest on multi-billion dollars projects, which they cannot have time to go through.
So your issue is in the pecking order of the prosecution.
That's where we go wrong.
The regulatory bodies.
That's where we go wrong. Yes. Any investor who knows whether it is Trump, trust me, before he opens his building, he will walk. And he will check. And then and trust me,
1,000 buildings.
That is why their things are very organized.
Let me bring Bosire in on this as well.
One of the things, I think we are just skirting around the issue. Even us as the media, we're also playing to the gallery. It's easy to write a headline, the killer is still walking free.
Yeah.
But what, have we gone deeper and investigated? Who takes responsibility? Yes. What is it that went wrong? And then finally in this country, the desperate nature of the parents who want their children to get to school, they will go into anything. We've left them desperate. 3, are there any consequences for what we do? Who is this man who is able to get away with it? Because we bungle our investigations. I've yet to see a case where the owner or the other regulatory agencies, we are prosecuted and served as an example. Yes. We just dash into it, make statements, and it dies out. This man knows that I'll do this and get away with it. The cold hard coin really rules the day.
Right.
That is the problem here. This man knows I paid money to get approval, I pay money to bungle the investigations, and get away with it. The lives don't matter anymore. Until we have systems that hold you to account and there are consequences for your action, then you can't talk. We will be discussing here another precious talents everywhere else. And today, go to Mukuru, go to Korogocho, it's the same story that is replicated. And then yet we say that we are spending a substantial portion of our GDP on education. Education for who? Who takes this education? Right. And what are we putting down as education? We're saying free education, but guys are learning on trees and they're learning in sewer lines. Then the question comes into quality. It all goes down to what we set out to do as a country? Do we have policies? Are we faithful to what we want to do?
Right.
Or we just want to do it for the heck of it so that I get money?
And at this, we also have parents who are picking up the pieces, some of them, burying their children, others who have children who are injured. There was a story yesterday of one of the, a son who got out alive, but now they don't know what's wrong with the jaw. He was discharged from Kenyatta National Hospital. They said he's fine, but the parent doesn't know where to go, doesn't know where to get assistance with this. The child can't talk, the jaw hasn't, the inflammation hasn't gone down. Where should they get redress as far as this is concerned? Because you can see the parent is stranded.
Yeah.
They don't know where to go next.
And I wish
The government
those
should
are
take
some of the
responsibility.
things we would needed to have put in
place.
line first, so that if, as a parent, you can rush here, you can find this help. Then from there, now we ask ourselves, the proprietor has a right to get all his documents and come with them in court and say, indeed, I was given approval for all these things. These are my documents. So that now you start saying, charge the person who did this and this and this. So he needs to look for that and go. And the best thing he can do also is to help the parents. He has been with the parents. Help the parents first finalize this first process. Those who are burying, and then those who are traumatized, those who are hospitalized. And then from there now, let's ask ourselves, where are the rest going? True. Because now they are just hanging.
Okay, very true. Because of time, we have to move on quickly and look at the last story before we wind up. And it's the front page of the PD, this coming to your area, of course. Huge cash deals in Narok alarm CBK. Of course, it's a deadline on demonetization. TikTok, of course, the CBK governor has also pointed out there is no extension. He knows Kenyans are last minute, will all want an extension, and that's not going to be happening. But quick remarks, even as you leave, Madam Melati. At this particular point in time, some people saying a sinister play in hand because this might be the latest route to launder the money in Narok right now. Wheat farming is going on there, the harvesting is happening, and now some very dubious businessmen rushing to that side of the country. Well,
now it depends. If it is the people of Narok, I would say many of them don't bank their money. So sometimes I will, and I know there are many, even our grandmothers, who might still be having some money somewhere. That is it. But if it is now, traders coming from outside and doing it, then that's another issue where central bank has to look for. But if it is just the normal community people within Narok, I know many of them keep their monies mostly at home. So we have to look at both sides.
Honorable Sankok, we usually know during harvest time, Narok is flush with cash. Have other people learned the trick and now are trying to use this time right before the deadline?
I'm telling you, and let me start by thanking the governor of Central Bank. He was even in Narok recently. He actually launched the new currency in Narok during Madaraka Day. He also came to Narok, and I was with him during Churchill's show, where he actually tried to announce. He have gone to so many vernacular stations, vernacular station, including this one here called Mayan FM, to try and educate our people who may not have been banking their money. They need to change, or they need to accept the new currency while they will be selling their wheat. This is the time that we are actually selling our wheat. And it is true that some dubious businessmen have come with a load of cash in 1,000 shilling note to try and buy the wheat, and then they will sell the wheat now in the new currency, yet they have bought it in the old currency. They don't care whether they will make losses or they will make profit. And actually they are buying at a very high prices. And they have even bought land using this old currency, 1,000 Kenya shilling note. So advising, and we have been going out as leaders to try and make awareness to our leaders, that to our residents, that they should not again sell land or sell wheat in the old shilling currency, 1,000 shilling currency. And it is not only the businessmen, even the old profession, that is the commercial sex workers. They are now in huge number and in huge supply in Narok. But we have advised our people, if you admire them because of the miniskirt, buy a miniskirt, take to your wife, and then you will admire the wife. Thank you very much.
Mr. Busire, of course, the deadline fast approaching, end of this month. What should people be looking out for? Because, as we know, on Thursday, Safaricom also saying that their M-Pesa outlets will not be taking this particular 1,000 shilling note. So it is here.
It is here. And I think I think it's also wrong for Safaricom to say they don't want to take it. There are deadlines. Let them respect that deadline. Why do they want to lock other people out? one of the things is Narok. But I know people who had money, but we also have a question of what is the banked population in this country? Those are some of the questions we need to ask ourselves. What is the percentage of Kenyans who are banked? Do we have systems that make it easier for us to bank? That's a question for another day.
Right.
But now, having said that, but people, the very kind of rogue, dodgy fellas who've been keeping money that is not right, are trying to find outlets. Business that are fast moving to try and give it its construction, its matatu business, to try and clean their cash out there. But having said that, the backdrop to this looks like the government, the central bank wanted to get more money into the economy that was being held by people. Right. But there is also the political whip, the underlying political whiplash that was being swung, that there are certain individuals who are keeping loadfuls of cash in the house. Right. How do we catch them off guard so that we devalue whatever wealth they are accumulating for 2022? It's a double-edged sword. It's a double-edged sword. It is being used for political reasons. It's also used for economic reasons. And in between, there are going to be innocent people who are caught in between. Okay. Because they may always think that it's safe to keep your money where you can reach it very easily. So it's a whole conversation talks about how do we get banked, right, and how convenient is it? Because this central bank, as it has done in the last few months, training people on how to bank money. But where are those banks? You know, there was a history in this country when you kept your money and your bank went under. And you had no recourse how to get your money. So that's why some people actually got scared and said, it's better for me to have this cash in the home other than putting it in some very fragile political bank that will go down in a few weeks and I can't access my money. Okay. So there's a whole history. We do this, but let those people who respect the deadline. Let's do it up to Monday. Let's not cut out people early. Okay. Because then it's also, you look like you have a sinister motive.
Right. At this particular point in time, as we wind up, we'll have our parting shots. We have less than 2 minutes to go. We'll start with Madam Elachi. Your parting shot this morning.
Well, I think I'll just say that as a country, I think it is for us to reflect for our country. I think where our country is headed is not the right direction, and we just need to sit and have a good conversation. Right. Forget about the politics. We will play, we will do the games, but the most important thing is a generation will question us, and it's a generation which we know does not really have the ability, or I would say, they don't believe in the things we believed in. Right. They believe that things have to be straight for them. And if we don't do it rightly, they will come to blame us all. So let's look at our country as a country where the way we got it from our fathers, we would wish our children and our children will be able to live for others.
Okay. Thank you so much, Madam Elachi. Honorable Sankok, your parting shot.
Yes, yesterday we passed a session paper number 1 of 2019 that talk about our education system, which is CBC, and I'm happy for the first time that we will be able to explore the talent that are within various type of disabilities. You know, with disability with 844, it was a bit absurd because our brain is like a memory card. There is a time that it can get filled, and when you fill with wrong information that may not assist you, like the body parts of an insect for a civil engineer, you know, you just fill their brain for nothing. And for person with disability, because they are disability limit them in certain areas, it is good to have CBC because it will jumpstart the ability to recognize their talent and their ability beyond disability, rather than being sympathy seekers, they are opportunity seekers. And we have so many other persons with disability in the world that have made it in the world who are actually persons with disability, but because their curriculum was based on their particular hidden talent, like John Forbes of Nash, of the Nash equilibrium. We also had Dr. Leakey. We had so many other examples of those persons with disabilities who made it when the curriculum recognized their specific and hidden talent. People with autism are the best mathematicians in the world. Some of the best scientists were actually persons with who we call intellectually disabled. But when we exploit and recognize their talent. There is a boy who was in Eldoret who could say the date in the calendar of 2032, 2035, offhand. You know, so I really support this CBC.
Okay, thank you so much. And of course, Mr. Busiro, your parting shot.
Mine is, I think this morning has been about, the whole thing, the whole conversation here has been about getting it right in our governance, in terms of be honest with our people, and let's do what we can to empower the common man. Because unless that common man is given the right policies to invest, to earn from their sweat, then we are not on the right path.
Okay.
And my cry is out that we need a Marshall Plan that can redeem the many, many, many lives and children of going to be a lost generation in the slums of Nairobi and other urban areas.
Okay, we leave it at that particular point. Thank you so much for making time this morning. My panel, of course, very, very heated debates went on right here. Lovely panel, as always. Ken Busire, Managing Editor of the People Daily. We also had Madam Speaker of Nairobi County, Beatrice Alachi, and Honorable David Sankok. Thank you so much for your time. We take a short break. We're back on the other side. This is K24.